Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel where if you have been following along, we have been listening to every single Pink Floyd album, in order, of course, from the beginning of their discography with Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and continuing today, we are going on to their next LP, the 1970 record, Atom Heart Mother. Now this is following their very kind of weird, broken up, kind of, obtuse record, Ummagumma, which I thoroughly enjoyed. That live side, the live first half of the record, whereas the studio section, that second half, I found to be a complete mess, and certainly not a side that I plan to revisit too often in the future, other than just the context of this series. So, Ummagumma, a complete mess, but I do think that first live side really shows off the chemistry of the band and the potential of the band as a singular unit. But moving on with Atom Heart Mother, it seems like they are going much more into the trajectory that we know them for, the prog rock sense, which I'm very excited to check out. But moving on, this record is 5 tracks long with 52 minutes and 3 seconds, meaning, of course, with only 5 tracks, but being a whopping 52 minutes, nearly an hour, some of these are pretty lengthy, with 2 tracks extending past 10 minutes and one of them actually being 23 minutes long. Quite a mammoth. I believe this is one of the longest tracks in their discography, if not the longest, not counting some of their more sweet-esque tracks that are broken up on their later LPs. So with that in mind, let's get into Atom Heart Mother. The first track here, 23 minutes. All right, and let's go. Not sure what to expect here. No lyrics, it seems. I like these horns right off the bat, just quite a triumphant open. Father Shout is the name of this part. Quite a nice orchestral element with the Abbey Road Session Pros on the orchestra. Love Mason, of course, on the drums. Such a heavy sound to him. Here we enter the second part. Breast Milky Who. God, I love the orchestral arrangements. These strings. I believe that's Richard Wright on piano. Oh, Richard. Some great spiral-like ascent. I love how optimistic this journey has felt so far. Next we're entering Mother 4 Part 3 here. Love the ease of transition from these in this suite here. That choir's quite angelic here. Very kind of wispy and ominous, honestly, this choir. That, like, Hammond organ in the pack drilling, really adding to this religious experience. I feel like we're seated in some, like, old cathedral. Super meditative and very powerful, these vocals. Oh. Getting heavier with Mason cutting in here. We're entering our next movement here with the Hammond organ. I believe that's the organ there. Funky dung. I was gonna say, we're getting kind of funky here. I do love a somewhat sense of whimsy we're getting with this track. Oh, is that Gilmore? Oh, as a sucker for great jams and that funk era of the 70s, this is right up my alley. Feels like Gilmore and Richard Wright here having a conversation. What a shift, too. We went from something that was so ethereal and so heavenly and church-like to a good groove, very mellowed out funk. Love those hits. Sinks right into it. What? Nick Mason? Oh no. My bad. John Aldis, the choir. Adding some great chants. I think this is my favorite part of this massive epic. Oh. Come on, Mason. Here we go. Love it. I love this. Pummeling sort of drop. Oh my god. Right back to that mammoth, the triumphant horn section. Oh. What a powerful section that was. Oh my god, into something now like tortured and a little bit horrific. Mind Your Throats, Please is the name of this one. They're getting... How'd we go from something so joyful, so epic, so fun, to this tension? I'm going to pause it. I haven't paused it yet. I'm pausing it this time to say this is kind of reminding me of a lot of the more experimental elements of Ummagumma. That second half, the studio side, that felt very weird, a little disturbed, tortured at times. But I felt it was very unstructured. I do feel like this is kind of adding a nice contrast to the kind of joyful epicness of this track. This part, very disturbed. But it's just a segment in this larger whole. I think it works. A train. Rushed past. A very desolate section this one is. Oh, wait. Oh. Again, teasing what came before. Maybe we'll splash back into it. Really just crashing all together here, all the sounds we've heard. Definitely feels a lot less, or a lot more chaotic. All coming together. And then... Remergence. So singular here. I love all the motifs from earlier coming back to close the track. It's almost like a bookending of sorts. Certainly feels like a very singular piece in that regard. Really feels like a massive outro here. Really just wrapping it all up. And I love this choir. Massive sounds. Oh my goodness. Feels like a soundtrack to like an epic film. Really reminded me of kind of like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of that time. Perfect. Great outro. What a massive outro that was. Really, bookending the whole thing with some of the segments we heard earlier in the track. Gotta say, for 23 minutes, it certainly held my attention. I feel like there's a great set of variation. I loved just about every section we heard. My least favorite would probably be Mind Your Throats, Please, or Breast Milky, seeing as I feel like both were kind of just leading up to something bigger. but I gotta say funky dung. Never thought I'd use those words back to back, but funky dung is a fantastic section, especially. Really just love the groove of that. Really feels like it matches that era. And then, of course, you know, the massive Mother 4 as well as Reemergence really feel like a huge soundtrack to like a spectacular epic film like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or like a Space Odyssey of that time. You know, it just feels huge. Really just, I love the grand appeal. Let's go into If. Keep it going. Much shorter track, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I do like their acoustic sections, and I wish I had a whole acoustic album from them. I like Waters' bass here. Nice and thick. Very swooping in its sound. Could be an allusion perhaps to Syd Barrett, I don't know. Oh. Definitely very much signaling where they're going. And I love Gilmour's guitar, very hazy in the background. Very psychedelic. I'm not sure who's playing the acoustics on this one, but it's quite sweet.
If I were a good man, I'd understand the spaces between friends.
Definitely seems like a reference to Syd Barrett from his POV, perhaps. Love. It's Waters on the acoustic, sounds great.
I would cry.
This is just a gorgeous, you know, touching tribute, it would seem. Such a strong sense of like a kind of melancholy as well in the performance vocally.
With you more often than I do.
Love that one. Very sweet, touching tribute to Syd Barrett, it would seem. Roger Waters, great on the acoustics, great vocally as well. Nick Mason offers up some great, just gentle percussive elements. You know, Richard Wright as well. I love the Hammond organ throughout. And David Gilmour, of course, in those instrumental passages between the vocals, really offers up, you know, again, that very psychedelic, proggy, spacey sound that we've come to love from Pink Floyd. Which, again, I feel like a track like If here might even be a better example of the band as a unit than some of their lengthier pieces, because all hands on deck here, I feel like they each add you know, a good element to the track that makes it a larger whole in just a quick 4.5 minutes. So If, a really great acoustic piece, you know, with the psychedelic proggy elements. But let's go into Summer 68. Quite a popular track here, the most popular. I believe 68, they were just forming the band perhaps. Maybe this is, you know, commentary on that. I'm not sure. Really appreciating his Roger Waters bass a lot. Such a mellow sound. Sung by Richard Wright here. Perhaps about a one-night stand, it says. Love the organ work. This is a fantastic track. Loved how just like abrupt that jump into these lines are. Not sure why. It is reminding me of the Beatles. I mean, their influence obviously carries and segues into a lot of musicians, but I do feel like an argument can be made here. Oh, Mason. Great drumming coming in. And this orchestra is back. Do love the massive orchestra sound that we've got still from the opening track. Richard Wright, oh my god. Oh. Give it up for the man. He, certainly making a name for himself in the band here. Wow, Summer 68, I gotta say, Richard Wright. I gotta say, you know, he's like the George Harrison of the band. I mean, everyone talks about David Gilmour, everyone talks about Roger Waters, but Richard Wright with Summer 68 certainly makes a bold statement for himself there, considering he is the main writer, composer, and singer of that track. Certainly, I would say, he's making a statement for sure. Summer 68 is fantastic. Loved it. And although thematically it seems like it's about a one-night stand with a groupie, perhaps, of the band, maybe a bit of a simple concept, one might say, it certainly justifies it with just how great and mammoth of the sound is. Here's Fat Old Son. Love that title. They love chimes in their work. Quite a banging mix. Kind of reminds me of, Elements of the Wall. This is a David Gilmour led track. Quite nostalgic this track is. So, this is like a dreamlike sequence. As someone who loves a good dose of potent nostalgia, this certainly is scratching the itch. Describing here a sunset in the summer eve, birds are calling, children laughter in my ears. A very sweet, nostalgic sort of track. Certainly feels like it's transporting us to a childhood time of, those nice summer playtimes. Just basking in the sunset. makes you yearn for that time, you know, that childhood. Love how vivid this outro is too. Just a very, again, unified sound with all these members. I believe it's Mason, of course, on the drum. Spectacular. That was a nice one from Gilmore. Like I said, offering up those bells, offering up a heavy dose of nostalgia. Very potent, very powerful. Love it. Here's Allan's Psychedelic Breakfast to close it out. 13 minutes. And I believe this is where all members composing with one another. My man's just waking up and pondering what to have. Very experimental for its time, for sure. Even this match being lit, again, used as an instrumental. Not unheard of at the time. The creativity of experimental music at the time was bursting in the rock scene. Very playful piano here. Just a playful track in general. Feels like the start of a new day. I do just love how ASMR ambient this one is. A bowl of cereal, perhaps. Very ASMR. God, it's right in the ears. I could do without the munching. The lip smacking is a little bit much for me. I don't really love the sound of hearing people eat. Oh, I don't like. It's a bit much. It's a bit much for sure. I do like how much of a focus this album has had on acoustics. Like I said, when I listened to their album more, I wanted more acoustic. Don't we all? Old age.
Well, he's sort of, when driving on the road, he has a sleep.
I do love the sound of a cooking breakfast, but this track's very interesting in its goal. Certainly the most abstract on the album. This has a very the end credits energy to it. Very sweet. I love it. This whole passage here. Nothing to say about this one. Just a strong, steady outro. Yeah, it feels triumphant. Feels like a nice end credits. Certainly quite a abstract sort of track for sure.
Well, my head's a blank.
And that's it for the last track, Allan's Psychedelic Breakfast. And I gotta say, certainly a psychedelic experience. And I think, the main takeaway from that track, as abstract and as weird as it could get, especially with the more ASMR elements, where he was really munching on what seemed like a bowl of cereal in our ears, fried up some food as well, and perhaps, with that water dripping, maybe that's a kitchen sink faucet or something. Either way, that track feels like a nice, early morning rise, especially in its sound, its scope. It's like the dawn of a new day. It's the excitement of a new day. Just having that nice morning energy that you get when you have a nice breakfast in the morning. Perhaps you're cooking by yourself in the kitchen. I do like the kind of vibe and the atmosphere it goes for, and I do like, the somewhat abstract nature of it. It's a bit bold, but I do think it's the weakest track on the album, seeing as it does feel like it meanders a little bit more and doesn't have as concrete of a structure as the rest of the track list. But let's talk about Atom Heart Mother as a whole. The title track, that opener, 24 minutes, really fantastic mammoth of a track that really shows the prog rock elements that they would really, continue to dive into and kind of change the genre with, change the name of the game. And then with the unique contributions of If, Summer 68, and Fat Old Son. If being, I believe it was Roger Waters, Summer 68 being Richard Wright. Incredible that track really was. I feel like really shows the potential of Richard Wright as a singular unit on his own. And Fat Old Son, of course, David Gilmour's element. I feel like these three tracks, back to back, show how strong they are on their own, shows the talent of these three members especially. But at the same time, they do rely and need one another to make these tracks as powerful as they are. Because honestly, on Ummagumma, where we saw that second half, that studio half, where it was very singular in their visions, it felt very messy, a little convoluted. It didn't feel like it really stuck the landing. Whereas here, with the rest of the band to help support their vision, you have something that is much more concrete, unique, and definitely more powerful. So I gotta say, Atom Heart Mother is like the Ummagumma successor in a sense, and a better vision and truer idea of what could have been on that LP. So I do like it. I do like also, it's got a very spring-like energy throughout this album, and I really like that because it's so full of, I would say, like a whimsical energy, a very optimistic energy. It feels like a nice bright spring or summer morning, specifically spring. Everything feels like it's flourishing on this LP. So, I love it, and I think the album cover, as funny as it seems, just a big cow, is fitting for that spring-like sound. So Atom Heart Mother, a bold album, a creative album. Again, huge mammoth-like tracks on this one, especially, again, that opener. Not just in the sound, but in, obviously, the runtime. I'm very happy with this one. It's definitely one I will be playing more and more, and I do think these shorter tracks, too, have some great replayability after that massive opener. So, that does it for Atom Heart Mother. We are going to check out the next album, hopefully soon. I'm doing roughly every 2 weeks or so on these videos, which I feel pretty good about, going between Pink Floyd and Bjork. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, because in a couple of weeks, we will be checking out, if not sooner, Metal, I believe, is the next LP from Pink Floyd. So go ahead and subscribe to check that out. But that does it for today's video. If you like the video, like I said, please hit like, subscribe, follow along. Check out the Patreon for the uncut reactions of Pink Floyd, Bjork, the Kate Bush series I've done, which I gotta upload the rest of that unedited content, as well as all the other videos I've uploaded, roughly February onward. Those are all getting uncut, uploads as I release them, especially new albums as I react to them. They're getting, their reactions, their uncut reactions put on the Patreon for $5 a month. Just a small fee, and you get a plethora of content. But, as always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.